Alright, so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to show how I animate the intensity of the light so it fades on and off for floodlights. You can animate both internal and external flood or omni lights. But I think external lights, unless the controller specifies the intensity or the controller specifies it. I think for the external lights it's either on or off. For argument lights, I'm not exactly sure. A lot of third-party developers that are doing like private mods for like flight teams and stuff couldn't get external lights like floodlights to fade on and off. So basically, for example, target my spotlight, start the decay at 5 meters. So basically, other cockpits in DCS use the new light sources for both internal floodlights and external floodlights now. For example, floodlight, panel light, internal floodlight on the dash, panel light. The same would go for the A10C. Basically, for example, floodlight, 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 floodlight. So let's say make it dark. And they fade on and they fade off. Alright, so basically, for example, I placed the single spotlight pointing on my fuselage. So to animate it, basically you would go to select the light, graphics, graph editors, curve editor. The spot should pretty much be the last thing on the list. So basically, spot name, object, multiplier, assign controller, arc base float, add a argument number, and then add 2 keyframes, one at 0, one at 100. And if you want it to fade from off to on, basically the first key would have to be the inverse of the actual spotlight multiplier. So since my multiplier is set on 1, the first key would actually be -1 value, which would basically change the offset to 0. It would basically turn off the light. Alright, so 0.0, and the light is off, and the light fades on. Same can also be applied to omni lights. So basically, for the multiplier setting, if your spotlight uses a multiplier of 1.0, which for the cockpits it actually be a lot less. It'd probably be like 0.7 maybe, and the inverse would be a lot shorter, as well as the attenuation and focus and stuff. So the spotlights itself would be a lot smaller and scaled a lot smaller. So basically, whatever multiplier value you had would be your first value. So like when I had it at 1.0, my first frame is -1. That makes it 0, and then the 100th frame would put it back. The value would be 0, which would put the multiplier back to 1. Basically, yeah. So like I said, as far as I know, the cockpit floods, a lot of people have gotten those to work no problem, but the external floodlights, a lot of third parties can't seem to get those to work. I'm pretty sure it's a code issue because the A10 uses external floodlights. On some of the external models actually do have variable multiplier lights for all of the lights, like the Omni lights that they place. So if that's something you wanted to do, but it would require changes to controller from just going from ARG0 to ARG1. But that's pretty much how you animate the spotlights within 3DS for DCS.